Welcome to episode 66 of In Touch with iOS, a podcast that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies, plus tips, apps, and gear. And I am your host, Dave Ginsburg, and my guest this week, I am so happy he's here, Dave Hamilton from the Mac Geek Gab and Mac Observer. How you doing, Dave?
I'm good, Dave. Thanks for having me. This is great.
Oh, this is awesome. We got to hook up at MacStock and did a little interview before then, and that was fun. And we realized, boy, we have a lot of fun talking on the show. So I said, we got to get you on, and I'm so happy you were able to work out your schedule and come on the show here. And we got a lot of great things to talk about today because there's just so much going on in the Apple world here, as it always is.
It's been a busy week. I know. It's crazy.
Yeah. So lots of great news. And then we're hitting the three core topics this week will be Apple Card. I know we've been talking about that a few times here on the show, but I know, Dave, you just got your card. Well, not the card itself, but you have the account, so we at least could talk shop on that one, and I can give you my experiences so far. And then Apple TV Plus, lots of hot things talking about that, and Apple Arcade. And then we'll see where our time is with some tips and some app picks we got at the end, like we always do here on In Touch with iOS. So we love doing that. And of course, I do, because you are considered a official first new guest of the show. I always ask what everybody's gear is, so we get to ask that question there too as well. So
sounds good.
Let's dig right in, and we'll go right into the first story that caught my eye over on TechCrunch. TechCrunch had this story about Shazam, which of course is owned by Apple. It's not the Shazam data is now powering Apple Music's newest chart, the Shazam Discovery Top 50. And you and I both love music, and we love the stuff. And if you happen to look behind me, we're recording video. I have a whole shelf full of Billboard books from Joel Whitburn, who is probably one of the chart masters.
Yeah,
and I wish he had more automated stuff, because I just bought the big. You probably can't see it. You can't see it, but the listeners, I can tell you, is I just bought the big book of all the top songs around the charts. This thing's like, I don't know, like 1,500 pages, something like that.
That's awesome.
Music from like 1960 to 19 from 2018. So it was a current book. So this is great, because Shazam's going to now put together this top 50 list in Apple Music. I assume you use Apple Music, and you enjoy it.
I do. Yeah. We used Spotify for a little while before Apple Music existed, and then we shared it amongst our family before Spotify had a family plan. And when Apple Music launched, they had a family plan. It was like, okay, I'm in, because trying to share and manage who's listening at once was a disaster. Yeah. But with obviously Spotify's fixed that problem now. But yeah. So yeah, I and now again I have a Spotify account. I do I do these. I'm a drummer too, right? If anybody doesn't know. And there's these. There's one, for lack of a less efficient term. There's a group that I play with, and we do a different show every month, and they create a Spotify playlist of all those songs. And I used to go and look at it on the web and copy it over to Apple Music. And finally I decided, you know what? I'm making money from this other thing. $10 a month saves me a massive headache.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. So it's like, wait a minute, this is a solvable problem. So I have both. Yeah.
But I remember Shazam when I got my very first iPhone. Shazam's been around forever. If you remember, don't you remember how excited we got when we were able to hold that up to a speaker and say, "Hey, what's the name of that song?" And it would tell you, like, "Wow, this is so cool." And
so do you know where Shazam came from?
You probably know better than I do. But I
got to see it
Europe,
used in public for the first time.
Did you? Oh, wow. Please tell us.
Yeah. So at WWDC, there used to, I don't think they do it anymore, but there used to be this session. It was always session 0. And it was called Stump the Experts. And it was a late night thing. I think it started at maybe 10 o'clock. It might have been 9 o'clock. It was always after the Apple Design Awards, which used to happen on the first day of WWDC, right? So you go to the Apple Design Awards, and then there would be a half-hour break between the Design Awards and when Stump the Experts happened, because they had to, Stump the Experts was, is they would put like maybe 30 chairs on stage, and these would be filled with current and former Apple employees.
Okay.
And it was this very irreverent game show that happened between the experts on stage and the audience in the crowd. And there would be various ways to earn points, most of which were related to answering tech questions or asking tech questions of the thing. But there was one other way to earn points or prizes, or however you want to look at it. And that was to identify the crazy songs that were played, the obscure songs that were played between the end of the Apple Design Awards and the beginning of Stump the Expert. And there was nothing ever said about this. If you hadn't been before, you had no idea that these songs meant anything. And they were weird. You probably wouldn't even recognize one of them. I wouldn't. I think in all the time there, I probably recognized one. And I know a lot of music. Like I just have, I've listened to too much stuff.
Me too.
So this one year, the year that the App Store was going to open, right? Apple, I think in March, had announced that the App Store was coming. They had pushed out the dev kit to developers, but it was not there yet. It was going to be released later in, I think, July or June, the day the iPhone came out, which was the iPhone 3 S or 3G, something.
3G, 3GS, one of those
3G. Yeah. So, which turned out to be a disaster to do all that on the same day. But anyway, a customer service nightmare. But so this guy goes up and he says, I would like to identify a song. And the host of the show, Fred, says, oh, great. Okay, which one? And he says, all of them. Wow. And he proceeds to list off in order every song, and it's 100% accurate. And okay, they're like, okay, how did you like this? You cheated. How did you do this? He says, no, I wrote an app, and it was the author of what we now know as Shazam.
Wow.
Yeah. And he wrote it specifically for Stump the Experts. Like that was the only reason he wrote this app. Awesome. And then it wound up getting acquired by Apple years later. So it was this very serendipitous thing.
It was a European company that owned it, or
it was a European guy. I mean, it grew into a much bigger company.
Yeah, of course, right.
Yeah, I think it was acquired, or he partnered with somebody that had some money to market it and like do all the things that they did with it. But it really was like a solo developer project solely to impress all of his fellow developers and Apple employees at Stump the Experts. Which is just like it's so fantastic. Anyway,
that's fascinating. I know I completely forgot where the roots of Shazam was, and this was, like I said, I knew this would be a great story to talk about. They of course you could find today. They have a top 200 chart from the U.S. that you go and play. Again, like I told you, I'm a charts freak, and I guess you can see my bookshelf back there. All those books are back there from Joel Whitburn, from going back to like all the way to the 70s, 60s, and I love looking through these charts. And this tool was always something great, so I can be able to listen to some of these songs and then just go back and look at the chart and see when it charted. But now they're doing the current charts, plus this article is now saying that they've created a new Discovery Top 50, which means discovering new music and new bands and new folks that are out there, and it really is just a fascinating app, and I'm so glad they did this to check this out, because it's definitely it's a must-have app on your iPhone and your iPad. I could put that in my app pick, honestly, because I pick it every week because it's one I would use all the time. I know Apple has their built-in one, but I think by buying Shazam really solidified what they had what they have now compared to what they had before.
Right, because you can, even without the app installed, you can ask Siri, what song is this? And it will will use the Shazam tech. But yeah, I agree. The Shazam app is it's just a more robust thing. Yeah,
absolutely. So, but that was one news story. And then we are going to talk about Apple Card here in a little bit here, but Apple Insider had this article, and of course many others, including Mac Observer. You guys also talked about it. Was Apple now says you can clean your Apple Card with a microfiber cloth and avoid contact with leather and denim. And I read this article and I'm thinking to myself, when in the heck did I ever was I ever going to think about me cleaning a credit card? I mean, I know.
So I missed this. I've been traveling this week.
Okay.
This is the first I'm finding out about this.
Okay, good. So this is going to be even better for you to react to this, because
it's preposterous.
It's crazy. What? Yeah. There's an actual support. There's a support document. The links in that story that Apple published telling you how to clean your credit card. And it's
because it's titanium. Okay.
Right. And of course, I'm showing mine on the camera so you can see it, Dave. And
you're making me jealous, Dave.
I did get the invite, so what can I tell you? There was a whole other story. There was a whole other story with that. I used the wrong Apple ID. I couldn't use it on my phone. All that stuff. People can listen back to that. But I got it now and it's working great. But we'll talk about it. But yeah, this is just absolutely crazy in my mind. Why would I want to clean this credit card? Why? Well,
here's I feel like they've buried the lead here. I mean, it is fascinating that a support article exists named how to clean an Apple Card. Like, that's absurd in and of itself. And I'm with you. But what's even more absurd is it says some fabrics like leather and denim might cause permanent discoloration that will not wash off. Now, most men that I know either keep their credit cards in a leather wallet or not in a wallet in their pants pocket. And what? I mean, I guess
they said it's okay in the wallet, so I am safe there. So
what kind of leather? I mean,
that's what I'm curious to know. What leather are they talking about?
Denim jeans, like the pockets, the liner of the pocket isn't actually denim. That's just like cotton or whatever. So
right. But you could have in your jean jacket. Everybody still wears jean jackets, right?
That's true. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Apple even gave out like those trucker jackets at WWDC a couple years ago.
Oh, that's right. I remember seeing that.
That's denim, right? I think they were denim. I didn't get one that year, but so wallet, pocket, or bag made of soft materials. It's a freaking credit card.
That's what I'm saying. Why?
Of course they're doing this.
It's Apple. It's great every time. Let's save it for the topic. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So
gotta love them.
We love them. So next story, British Airways, which I don't think I've flown them before. You probably have, but British Airways buys once. Okay, they bought 15,000 iPhone XR units for cabin crew. And part of a major investment for customer relations enhancements. And like you and I have talked about this, customer service. We love customer service. You got to be good to your customers.
Every business is the customer service business. That's right.
100%. And I'm in that business. So,
right.
But we all are. We all are. So the 15,000 phones will contain a selection of apps that are designed to provide travelers with additional assistance during flights. What a concept. So that means a flight attendant or a pilot or anybody that's available will have their phones at their fingertips and be able to serve any information that they need for the customer's needs. What a concept, huh?
I like it. That's pretty good. Yeah.
So, and I know other airlines have done this similar in the past, like United Airlines. It replaced all their flight manuals with 11,000 iPads back in 2011, and then other.
It actually saves weight on the plane.
100%.
Like, I mean, it not only just weight on the pilots' backs, but it makes a big difference in their flight bags.
All those binders they had to carry around with them and stuff. So, but the key of this is I'm very pleased to see it, and I hope other airlines follow suit doing this because you really have to have these devices at your fingertips. What do you think we do as consumers? We have our devices at our fingertips because we want to find out about something. Especially we look up our airline. We have our airline app, and so same thing. So great stuff. And then last story I had is, and I'm always talking about the betas. iOS 13. Are you running any betas on any of your iOS devices?
I am. I'm running iOS 13 beta on my iPad Pro 10.5 inch, which is my daily driver iPad.
Oh, okay.
It's not my daily driver phone, but it is my daily driver iPad.
Okay. Yeah. I still get scared to do it on my daily driver device. So what I do is I happen to luckily have an extra iPad Pro 12.9 inch. It was the first gen that I happened to actually purchase and then sold to my sister-in-law. So I asked her, I said, are you using this? I never see her use this. Oh, no, I'm not really using it. It's been like, it's thrown in a drawer somewhere. Well, why didn't you give it to me so I can start playing with the beta because I want to try it out. And sure enough, she was able to do that. And it so far, I think it's got some really great stuff. And obviously, there's going to be so much to talk about in future shows. I'm sure you will on your show as well. I definitely will be doing it here. So, got to really start getting on top. It looks like some of the betas that have updated. This latest beta is beta 8, which is again, Apple keeps cranking betas out, which is great to see because that means we're getting close. Because they did say that. Potentially, there's going to be an event on September 10th, and they're going to probably be talking about maybe iPhones. Oh yeah, they probably will. I mean, iOS 13.
Yeah.
iOS 13 is going to more than likely get released. I've been there every year for so many years. My 10s Max is ready for trade-in, so I'm right at 1 year, so I can do it. So, and I guess because how crazy I am. We'll talk about your stuff in a minute, but the articles in the show notes. This was in Mac Rumors, and both the developer and the public beta is available. And like I tell everybody all the time, do not install the beta unless you are ready to have problems.
Yeah, and that has especially been true with these betas. Like, I feel like now, starting really with beta 6, maybe it got to the point where it was, at least on the iPad, not going to be kooky for me on a regular basis. There's a couple of things, but certainly, 1 through 5 were not. There was no bueno. No, yeah.
So that's a good thing about having the iPad. Yeah. So that's good about having the iPad. I don't care about. I had all the betas on it, and this version 8 seems pretty solid. So I think we're almost there. We're almost there.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Prime time for prime time. So, but check that out, and that's all the news I came up with. So let's go right into our topics for this week. And as I mentioned to you, Dave, since you are officially your first time visitor here to In Touch with iOS, I wanted to talk to you about what makes you tick with all your iOS gear and what tech do you actually have. And I know you have a 10R, right? That's your daily driver for your iPhone.
My daily driver phone is a 10R. I have always bought a new phone every year. And I don't trade mine in because I've got 2 kids and
right.
There's 4 of us in the house, and we just sort of roll them around. The very first iPhone, believe it or not, I bought, but not for me. I bought it for my wife. She got the first iPhone because I had a Palm Trio 650 that actually worked really well for me, and I didn't want to mess with it. So, but lately I've gotten the latest one and then kind of pass them around. And so when the 10S came out, it was like, I don't know that I need to spend that kind of money on a phone again. It's like, this is crazy. And then I started thinking more and more about the 10R. Like, wait a minute. I think the 10R is the phone that I should be recommending to most of our listeners, right?
Right.
But I can't recommend it if I haven't used it. It's like, all right, this is so, and I love the 10R. It's been my favorite iPhone in a very long time. I like it better than the 10.
That's great.
It took me a little while with the not having the OLED screen, but quite honestly, I kind of like this screen better. And certainly I like the battery life better. So I get a 10R. That's my daily driver. As I mentioned, I have an iPad Pro 10.5 inch. That is my daily iPad.
Yep.
I have an OG, got it on release day Apple Watch that I still use. I'm planning to replace that though when the new ones come out, because I want the depth meter that they're putting in, and I will not get that with software on this. No. And then I've got a couple more iPads. I have some that I all use for music in a variety of ways. And the main one is an iPad mini. I think it's the second gen mini. It's the first of the Retina minis is what it is. And it's a small one. I think it's only 16 gigs. I think I got it for free, like going to some conference or something. It was great. But I use it on stage to look at like charts and stuff.
Perfect.
Which is great. I don't need a ton of storage on it. I'm not running a bunch of apps. I don't need a lot of speed. I just need it to be reliable. And in the past, I've made the mistake of putting my iOS betas on that. No, that's bad when you're on stage and suddenly things go haywire.
Crash.
No bueno. So but I have that, and I've got a couple others that I use with like mixers, but they're just old iPads that really wouldn't be functional other than like this is now the portable control surface for like an audio mixer or something, which is great. So that's my iOS life. Yeah.
Do you do any Apple TV?
Yes. Sorry. We have actually 2 Apple TVs. We have the 3rd gen one. Yep. And then through the developer program for $1, I got the 4th gen one. So that's what we have in the living room. I
got my 3rd, 4th gen one through AT&T because they had that the DirecTV Now special where it was like a $100.
Yep.
You sign up for 3 months and then cancel it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how I ended up getting. Because I think I have all fourth gens, and I have a 4K too. Not that I have a 4K.
Okay.
Not that
I don't have a 4K
TV.
TV, so we haven't.
I don't either. So, but I got that was the one I got for really cheap. So
got it. Oh, that's good. Yeah, then there you go.
But no, that's good to know. And as I expected, you are a full card carrying Apple holder, and you have all the great technology like I do, and love it like this. That's why I'm so glad you're here on the show. We could talk about this stuff really.
Yeah,
really
no, I'm definitely an Apple. I'm a fan of the tech in general. Me
too. I work in it, so I have to. So
right,
as we both do. So
yep, exactly.
But no, good to hear, and I appreciate you sharing that with us. And let's dig right into the next topic, which is the Apple Card. You said you just got approved, and interestingly enough, I saw someone else just got approved. Myself, I went through another approval process because I kind of wanted to see how the approval would go through. It's just frightening how quick it is. Wasn't it really quick for you as far as the applying?
Super quick. So I have to admit, it's possible that I could have gotten my card earlier. I was being an idiot. I would launch the wallet app, and I would hit the plus sign. No. I'd launch the wallet app, and I had signed up, and I'm like, how come they haven't done it for me? And I'd hit the plus sign, and I would see whatever you see, right? Like there is one screen that everybody gets when you launch the wallet app. You hit the plus sign, and it says, it'll say it. I know, Apple Pay, continue, right? I thought that was the screen that was going to display my Apple Card option. So I would look at that, and I would hit cancel, and I would move on with my day. And then earlier this week, they, of course, announced that, it was available to everybody. I'm like, finally, I get to do this. And I go to that screen. I'm like, what is going on? And then finally on that screen, I hit continue and then saw the two options. So it's entirely possible that those options have been there for me for a very long time. And I was just being an idiot and not clicking through to the next screen. So if you're looking to get the Apple Card, make sure don't do as I did, do as I say, click through, and then you'll get it. So yeah, but the approval took, the whole thing took all about 9 seconds. Yeah.
And then and everybody reporting back what time of limits, of course, again, with this credit card, the cleaning of the credit card, and then everybody's sharing what limits they get and what their annual percentage rate is. I mean, we're all sharing this information. I don't think most people go, I gotta chase credit card with a $50,000 limit, and I get 12.9% interest. Isn't that great? Yeah. I don't think it just blows my mind with this sometimes.
I have not shared mine. I just like, and I probably would have until you said that everybody was doing it. I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to share that on in a public setting. But it's the approval process was easy, and my daughter, who's in college, went to go through it, and she actually has an astoundingly good credit rating for someone who's just 19 years old. Yeah. And I'm not exactly sure why. I need to figure that out because I need to. I need to help other people replicate that. I'm obsessed about credit rating, right? Like I'm really proud of my perfect credit score. And
as you've shared,
I want to help other people get that too. Yeah, but she tried, but her income is relatively low because she's a college student, and so they categorically denied her. Probably, I'm assuming just because of her stated income level, which makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but they were not
targeting college students is really what I'm trying to say with this. So, yep.
And they're nobody specific, but they were talking. A lot of people talking about ranges of limits anywhere between $7,500, $8,500, all the way up to $30,000 of limit. And then the APRs were going from the lowest that would ever go was 12.99 all the way up to I think it was like 23.99. So so you had quite a range when it came to that. So but you know what? I'm treating this card as a card that I'm having fun using, but what I love is go into the app and go into the wallet and see the card. The card's right there. And you see all the information there. It tells you what your total balance is. I love looking at that button. Pay early. Okay, I'll pay it. And I've done that like 4 times now. I mean, I bought a bunch of stuff. And in fact, I did buy the, I didn't even tell you this. I could tell you this on the show is the new OWC dock. I bought the new one. Remember we saw it when we were there back in from Xdoc. So Yeah, I put my credit card number in the OWC site, and anytime you use the credit card itself, the number or the physical card, you only get 1% on the rebates. I'll talk about rebates in here in just a second. You get the cash back, but I love it. So right now I have a small balance. I've already paid a bunch of it. I tap pay early, and I have like a $6.26 balance. I could pay it now, and it's just like paying cash, but you're getting the cash back. What's great about it is once you make the charge, that 1, 2, or 3% goes right back onto your Apple Pay cash card. I know you guys were talking about that last week on Mac Geek Gab about the name change of the card.
It's not called Apple Pay Cash anymore. I know.
It's just cash. It's just cash.
Cash. That's it.
Yeah. Yep. So right now I have $3.81 sitting in my Apple Cash card because all that rebate that came through over the last few days of small charges are now in there. And then what it'll do is it'll use that balance to pay the balance off on the card, including taking the rest out of your bank account. So, but it really breaks things down really well. And then just going up into the menu, messaging, I've not even called them. Maybe I called once because of my problem with my Apple ID. Because in a nutshell,
sure. That's right. Yeah.
In a nutshell, basically what happened was I got the sneak email and saying you've been approved to apply, and I got excited and realized because I have a Apple ID that's for only my purchases, and I have an Apple ID that's just my iCloud, and the iCloud that's the one that's dedicated to my iPhone. So that became a problem because I couldn't get to the card on my iPhone. So what's the point? So
right, yeah, that makes it difficult, right?
So I had to cancel the account, and then then the next day I got the email for my iCloud account email, and then applied for it and then got it, and then what ended up happening is I now have 2 cards. So the other card is a souvenir. So now I have a souvenir.
Will you have had, and this is Dave, the credit rating guy asking, will you have had 2 lookups on your credit report because of this?
It doesn't seem like it because I should go check, but I don't think so because I went into the wallet app and it was right there the next day, and they just went ahead and it seems like they transferred it because they were giving me a lot. It's so new. Goldman Sachs, the support there, they could figure it out. And I said, they transferred me to Apple. Apple's like, oh no, we can't do that. And then I said, fine, just leave it as is. Let the account get canceled. So as far as I know, if it did, oh well, I'm not worried about it.
Right. In the next 6 to 8 months, it'll all be sort of water under the bridge anyway. Yep.
Yeah. If it did, I'm not worried about it. So, but it breaks down your monthly activity. It gives you reports. I mean, and then the cool thing is you just tap up at the top. And like I said, any other interaction I've had has been, has been through messages. And of course the Apple messages, doing business messages is really cool. And I don't know if you've interacted with Apple before. Well, it's the same thing. And really is what it is it is Apple, and then Apple sees it's a Goldman Sachs question. Let me transfer you over to the Goldman Sachs people, so they'll help you. So that's how they do it. And then you could call from there, and the website's on there too. But again, there is no statements, so you can't really look for a statement. Everything is in the wallet. So
that's the weird. I mean, I get that for a lot of people, that's probably a better way to manage their credit cards.
100%. I think this is making me pay it. It's really what it is.
Right. I was watching my daughter. She's got a Discover card, and I was watching her sort of manage that. She bought some concert tickets or something, and her friends that are going with her had Venmo'd her the money, and she transferred it to her checking account. And then, like, we were just sitting at dinner. She's like, "Oh, I got my Venmos," and she just popped open the Discover app, paid the thing, and was done with it. So from that standpoint, the Apple Card fits totally into that whole workflow. For me, I've been managing my finances with Quicken and tracking things that way for decades. So not being able to slurp this into Quicken is like
going to be tough. No.
What? Yeah, exactly. Or anything. Like I get that not everybody uses Quicken, but there's lots of others where you're sort of, getting that big picture of your finances. They've got to fix that. My guess is that's, coming. I don't think it's off the list. I think it's just not part of the rollout yet.
Yeah, it's going to. So as soon as you go into the settings, there is card information. Then of course, it asks for your Face ID if you have a newer iPhone, or you use your Touch ID on your older phones. And then that brings you to the information of what the actual card number is, the expiration date, the security code, and of course it tells you what network it's on, of course, which would be MasterCard. Interesting it does that, because maybe it opens the door at some point. Maybe Apple decides maybe we need to switch to Visa. You don't know. So
absolutely.
Or Discover for that matter, because they use Discover for payment cards. So
that's right.
You don't know. So it gives you physical card and device number in there as well. So you have that in there, which is great. I will also mention, the big thing we're talking about when people, like you said, you're very detail oriented with credit as far as looking at credit, the EULA as we call it in our business. The arbitration thing was such a big topic of conversation. So I went on there online again today, and this was just a fresh news story. They said that you could go to the Messages app and contact Goldman Sachs and say, I want to opt out of the arbitration. But then they said you had to answer some questions and step through these steps. And I'm like, okay, I'll see. Let's see how it goes. You know what they did is they said, I want to opt out of arbitration. Okay, it's done. Thank you.
Done. There you go.
That's all they did, because they probably were getting so tired of people doing it from all the press. They just did it.
I mean, that's one of those things. If you've ever been through any legal proceedings, arbitration is way better and way less expensive than filing a lawsuit, or fighting a lawsuit. And most of the time, if you wind up with a lawsuit, a judge is going to tell you to go do mediation or arbitration anyway. Yeah. Like, you won't get to the court. So this is one of those things where it was like, okay, fine. Like, I get it. It's the same thing as with security. You don't your privacy just because you're not doing anything wrong, right? Like, it's the same sort of mindset. You want to pave the right path for yourself. You want to leave yourself the options. That's good. That's fine. I get it. But probably doesn't matter for most people. And people fall for the press is making a big deal out of it. I got to do it too. So I guess I fell into that trap too. What can I say? No, we all do. No, of course. Yeah. Of course.
The last thing I wanted to hit on with Apple Pay was actually the rebates, which are like I said, they break it down by 1%, 2%, and 3%. Now let's start at the 3%. I was excited to hear, and maybe I got to start taking more Ubers now. Uber is now part of the 3% level. So that means anytime you take an Uber and you pay for it with your card, you get 3% cash back on that. And again, like I talked about, the cash back is immediate. As soon as it posts your account, that money goes into that 3% goes right into your Apple Cash card.
That's right.
It's awesome. So then 2% is if you use your Apple Pay card at all to pay for anything with the card, doesn't matter what it is, you get 2%. Because they love that people are using Apple Pay, and they want you to do that. So and then if you use the credit card, whether it be with the physical card itself, like I bought lunch today at my cafeteria at work, I only got 1%. If I use the card, like I bought the adapter to OWC, 1%. So that's where it's set up so far. But I would venture to say that Apple's going to start looking at that a little closer, and Goldman Sachs for that matter, to see how well that goes over, and maybe get more people on board.
Yeah. Right. Right. That's exactly it. It's clear that's what they're doing, which is great. I mean, it's fine. Yeah.
So anyway, I think we talked the Apple Card to death here, and I did put a link in the show notes because I know you know Lory Gil from iMore.com, and she's absolutely great. She's on MacBreak Weekly with Leah Laporte. She had an excellent review of the Apple Card and her experiences as well. So you get to see like someone else's experiences because she got the card like around the same time I did. So great article there. I've got that linked in our show notes for that. So
cool.
All right, let's move on and let's talk about Apple TV Plus. Have you seen the trailers yet for the morning show? Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
Pretty everybody they think Steve Carell, they think Jennifer Aniston. That's going to be a comedy. Now, this seems like more of a drama to me.
It sure does.
A lot of backstabbing, a lot of you're on me and it was and then watching Steve Carell break a TV. This just like went like this. Oh my God! Don't break a great nice TV like that.
Yeah.
But I think that's what Apple's real investment was with this Apple TV Plus was the original content, and then I think they're saying over the course of many years they're investing almost $5 billion in this in that in itself. What I read,
they're investing a ton of money in this.
It's crazy. So this is coming. They said it's going to launch in November. A lot of rumors, of course. The link, I put a link in our show notes on for The Verge. I trust them, and they've got a lot of great information. They're saying the forthcoming service is going to start at a price of $9.99 a month. And if you think about that, that is pretty cheap considering.
Well, so here's my thought on that. That I think that was a controlled leak to The Verge, and okay. I think it was done as a test balloon, right? Mm-hmm. Because Apple needs to, Disney's out there at $6.99 on the pricing, right? And you get Star Wars, right? That's $6.99, in addition to everything else that Disney has. So,
right.
To say is Apple's service going to be worth, $3 more a month, almost 50% more. That's a tough gamble there. I don't know that they've got it. I mean, some people will certainly sign up. I think there will be a trial period. I'm hoping that they will do some sort of a bundle with Apple Music so that for Apple Music subscribers, it's just some sort of, incremental upcharge or whatever. Yeah. I'm not sure that $9.99 is the right price for this. I mean,
too high, too low.
Too high, way too high. Okay. Do they compete with Netflix? Like, do they have the catalog to compete with Netflix?
That's true.
No, not even close. Like, I mean, I realize they're investing a lot of money. I also realize people pay for HBO in like lots of people, not everyone, but lots of people pay HBO solely to watch Game of Thrones, right? And they the same thing with
CBS All Access, Star Trek Discovery.
To watch but that's only $6.99, right? To do CBS All Access.
I think they raised the price because I just went and looked at it again.
Oh,
so which is possible.
Man. They always get you.
I know it's going to get me when season 3 comes out. I want to see it.
I know. That's the thing is, I always pause it and then I go back. So maybe if they have one, all they need is one hit, right? And that's it. But will they get to that hit if everybody
huge chance.
Huge gamble. Huge. Yeah. But they're spending a lot of money on this. Apple has a lot of money to spend. So what is that? Apple's got over $200 billion in cash, right? So think about it. If you had $200 in your pocket and you could invest in your future, like in your retirement by spending $5, is that worth the risk? It's like, yeah, of course.
Well, that's to say, and there's other articles. I think Apple can afford to gamble that. It's like basically gambling. It really is.
It is. I mean, it's a calculated risk. I don't think it's like it's not like putting it all on red and spinning the wheel. But but there is a risk here.
But it's Apple.
But it's Apple. Yeah.
The cool thing too is they're going to integrate more and more of content onto the iOS devices. So on your iPhone, you can watch this stuff. On your iPad, you can watch this stuff. Because in fact, it was interesting. I on the Apple TV, I actually wanted to go watch the trailer on the Apple TV. So I went to it. I couldn't find. I went to the TV app and it wasn't there. And I'm like, why? I can't believe it. You don't have this in the Apple TV app, the TV app for Apple TV, versus me having to now have to AirPlay it to the Apple TV from my iPhone, which I did because I wanted to watch the trailer again. I only had caught it once, the morning show, and why? I don't know why. It's very strange.
That's crazy, man. Yeah,
so I have to go back again, and see why that is, and get back to everybody, see if maybe the next update will add it, or maybe they're always rotating content. Maybe it'll go in there. So
right.
The crazy stuff. But that's about it with Apple TV. How much we could talk about is the fact that it's November. We'll be talking about it more, obviously, and it's going to be interesting to see where it goes with the subscribers. Well, I guess our last question is: Did you think you'll subscribe? Or do you think you will?
I mean, certainly to test it, but will I remain a subscriber is really the question, right? I mean, we do this for a living. So yes, from that standpoint, I will definitely test it. I'll watch some of the shows. The question is, will they present the right value proposition to keep getting my money every month, after the first 3 or 6 months or whatever. And that remains to be seen, but yeah, I'll test it. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But I have to say that with a caveat, I'll test it because I have.
Well, it's your business. I don't have a business. This podcast is the love of my life here, and but I'll do it anyway because that's just me.
Yeah, right. Well, and I think I don't think you and I are alone. Like there are a lot of Apple fans out there.
Right. Exactly.
And those are the people that will, do it as a test balloon, because realistically, a month, let's look at it as a 3-month trial, right? Assuming that they don't give you any trial pricing, which I think they will, but let's say that they don't, and that this Verge pricing is correct. So it's $30 to try it for 3 months. Okay. You know what? It's wintertime. I'll sign up in November, December, January. It's cold. I'm spending more time inside, watch TV, whatever. $30. I can blow $30 without thinking about it. So
easy.
You know what I mean? So you could go get a bad meal and pay more than $30. So
that's true.
So this is not, but the question is, next November, how many people, what's the retention rate? And that's based on the hits. That's the only ththing that's based on. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That loyalty gets you the trial. And that is, trust me, if I launched a TV service, in November, I wouldn't get as many subscribers as Apple would. So,
Well, and now now everything's died down about the app. When's the last time we talked about Apple News, the News Plus? I mean, not much. Is everybody still a subscriber? I mean, I still am for now. I'm still tempted to think about I may end it because I hadn't really been looking at it much lately. The Wall Street Journal wasn't the greatest thing in the world. I mean, it's got some content, but it's not like being a Wall Street Journal subscriber, which I would never be. It's so ridiculously expensive, unless it was my business, of course. But
right.
So just look at it that way. But we're seeing trends here. This is all services. This is all going into the hopper with Apple with the services, and their last profits were a lot more services, a lot less iPhones. So.
That's right. They've known for a while. I mean, they've been beating that services drum in their earnings calls for a long time, trying to tell people, look, this is where the future is, and so sure, and their bet on privacy is part of the reason I think that their services revenue is where it is. Like, I think there's a part of that, with iCloud and everything. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So then the last of the services that they're about to release is going to be the Apple Arcade. Are you a gamer? Do you like playing games?
I played a lot of games when I was a teenager. I don't play a lot now. No. So,
me either. Yeah. Me either. So this is going to be questionable for me. If I even will dive into it, other than maybe if hopefully they have a trial, so I can at least try it to get the experience. But they say that the rumor is that the price on this is going to be $4.99 a month for the services of being able to play the games. There was a leak, and I've linked that in the show notes of some of the games that were leaked. And look, I remember which ones they looked at in the article, but looks like things like Way of the Turtle, Down in Bermuda, Hot Lava, Kings of Castles, Sneaky Sasquatch. Frogger in Toy Town. Yeah, I remember Frogger. I don't know about these other ones. And these are going to be pre-release beta versions when they come out. So I think they got a little ways to go with this, but there's a lot of gamers out there. If they can get some big titles, I think that's really what the key is going to be here, don't you think? Yeah, of course. It's like just like we were saying with the TV Plus. Like you got to have the titles. You got to have a reason for people to keep playing. Yeah, for sure. So check that out. Where there's, I said there wasn't really much to talk about because there is, it's games, and that's what it is as far as that goes. So, and that's I like what it the is. Idea though. I mean, I look at my son who plays a lot of games. He will occasionally buy them, but most playing free games. But I think for $5 a month, if it's got the right games, he's in. Like no question. Yeah. It's short money. $60 a year, good to go. Yeah. So. Well, anyway, let's get out of these topics. Let's dive into a few tips here. We always like tips, don't we? I know you like tips because you give tips all the time, and that's why I threw a couple in here, iOS related here, and then see what we come up with here. I just noticed this, and I threw this in here. Siri can suggest alerts for early calendar events, like alarm setting or even a calendar entry is suggested too. And I noticed this the other day because I kept setting my alarm for 6:15 in the morning, then I would turn it off, and a lot of times I would wake up early and turn it off beforehand. So, but I really like Siri suggestions. I hadn't been utilizing them as much as I should, but this is a great feature because it automatically sees your patterns of how you use your iPhone. Have you seen that before? Yeah, no, it's creepy, but not terribly so, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. I like the way it'll, I mean, it makes the process of creating them so much easier because it just presents it to you and you're like, do you want to do it? Yeah, great. Okay, let's go. Yep.
Yeah. So, that was one of the things that I caught my, and you can just watch for the series suggestions and it'll make suggestions as you go. I don't think it's creepy. It doesn't bother me. But
that's the thing. It's really not creepy. It just, it can seem like it is but it's not sharing that data outside your device, right? It's all just happening. Right. Well, so yeah, that's right.
Right. So it's it is a way to be able to make it real easy to do that. So, and the other one that caught my eye, and I think maybe you've used this before, is how to quickly and temporarily disconnect your iPhone from Wi-Fi. Remember how much we always had before iOS 12, you had to fumble around to turn that off because the darn Wi-Fi isn't working right and you're connected to it.
All the time. Yeah. Especially like when you're going through an airport and it tries to connect and you can't get on and now your phone is dead. Yep.
Yeah. So what you do is you go into the control center. For those of you who have the 10 and higher, the control center is retrieved from the top right of the phone because it drags down. For those of you who have below that, the 8, 7, that the control center drags from the bottom up, and it has a choice in here, and they're up always at the far left corner. Is you just tap the Wi-Fi, and that'll disable it. And then there's also the other button there at the top will turn off the Wi-Fi temporarily. And you've done that, I'm assuming, many times, right? When you where you can
many times. Oh yeah. I use it all the time. What I really would like to have, this seems to be happening more and more to me lately, is I would like to have a way to turn on and off LTE. Not all.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with you.
But LTE, I found I was on, we were visiting family just, I don't know, an hour north of here in New Hampshire, and I couldn't get anything done. And I was going crazy. The Wi-Fi in the house had gone down. It was like, we got nothing here. I can't even tether to my phone. Like, what's going on? Yeah. And I did the whole reset of network settings, which I'm still paying for because I have to rebuild all my VPNs and all that stuff.
Oh, right.
But I thought like, oh, it must be it. No, that wasn't it. And finally I realized my daughter's just basking. Plenty of service, no trouble. I'm like, all right, what's going on? I'm like, did you turn off LTE? She says, I leave LTE off. She said, I think in her mind it negatively impacts her battery too much or something. She's like, no, LTE is a waste. It's never good. Like,
oh my God, I go crazy if I was an LTE.
I turned it off. Yeah. And I went from, 5 bars of LTE that had 0 like data passing across it to 3 bars of 4G, and it was totally fine. So, and I'm finding that more and more. Where I was somewhere else recently where I ran into the same problem. I think down in Orlando when I was there for Podcast Movement. And I had to do the same thing, and I turned off LTE, and then everything was fine. So I would love a toggle for that, but the toggle to turn on and off Wi-Fi I use constantly.
Yeah, so I was glad Apple did that because before you had to just dig deep into the settings to get to it, and now it's got a quick way of doing it. So, yep. The other one that caught my eye, and this is more of an accessibility feature, and it may not be for everybody because not everybody likes to be on the phone all the time. This is how you could set your phone to automatically answer calls. Now, I don't know if I would want that on or off because I don't know if I want to answer the calls, but I thought this was a little interesting. You can set it. So the way you get to this is you open up the settings app, and then you go into general, and then you go into accessibility. Then you can scroll down. There's a choice in there called call audio routing or routing, however you would like to say it. And you could tap auto answer calls, and on the next screen, it'll toggle to the auto answer calls to be on. And then below that, it gives you a time where how much time you want before the call gets automatically answered. So you can set it for 3 seconds or however many of seconds that you want. And then the call will get answered. Because sometimes, maybe older folks, it's hard. They're fumbling around trying to get to their phone, and it doesn't, and they don't get to their phone in time. And maybe they want to have this set so that it automatically will answer, so then they can grab it and then answer the call.
Man, this is why I love doing stuff like this because I learned something new. And the accessibility section, I had no idea this was. The accessibility section is a treasure trove of cool tips and features. There are so many things in here that are useful to people that don't necessarily have any disabilities or anything. Man, yep. Okay. I mean, I don't know when I would use that, but actually there are times where if I'm, in the middle of something and I know that when a call comes in, I don't want to miss it. It's like, you know what, let's just turn that on. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I might need to dig into the accessibility settings more and just throw still like a whole part of the show, just tips on that, because there's just so many. I mean, just like we discovered the magnifying glass. Now they've made that standard issue. You just turn it on pretty much now. No one knew where that you had a magnifying glass available on your iPhone. I love the magnifying glass. I can tell you, my eyes aren't as good as they used to be, but they are good. But when you want to look at something close, I mean, I'm looking at laptops all day long. The bottom of Dell laptop, I have to read the service tag. I'm going down to the bottom and like, I can't read this damn thing. Let me pull it. Let me pull it up. And
no, you're right. And now it's a feature, right? And so is the whole dark mode thing. Yeah. It was predated by the accessibility, smart invert, which was predated by accessibility invert colors, which was super handy to do. And when you're in a dark place, like a concert, I go to a lot of concerts. Yep. If I need to pull out my phone, I always hate it when the person in front of me pulls out their phone and has their, brightness on like 10, and and it's like shining in my face because they're, down in front of me or whatever. It's like, just put on the accessibility thing, turn on invert. And now it's, it's coming in iOS 13. You get it as a, named feature, which is great. So it's cool because Apple pays attention to it too, like how people are using it. So I mean, just like the mouse support that's going to be added in iOS or iPadOS coming up. I tried that a little bit, but boy, was it buried deep. They really didn't want you to find that. But I would not be surprised if something like that changes that soon as well. I agree.
And we see where it goes. So the other one that caught my eye as a tip here, I thought was. I assume you have a pair of AirPods you use, right?
I do. I have an original, an OG set of AirPods that I use. Yeah, and I love them. Yeah. This is a tip. I mean, I had actually two pairs because I had one my wife was using. I gave her as a gift, and then they don't. I feel bad because some of these times some people's ears they just don't fit in their ears properly. Totally. So. Yeah, it's a one size fits most kind of thing.
Exactly. Yep. So my older ones, because of course, like you, I bought them right when they came out. So I think the batteries are starting to wear. So I went and started using hers, and I wanted to rename them because, of course, it'll name it whatever her name was or whatever it was. So you are able to rename the name of pretty much any Bluetooth device if you want to, depending on if it allows you. But the way you do that is you go into the settings and then you go under Bluetooth. And then under the Bluetooth, of course, you see all the lists of, and of course, you're probably like me and have like a bazillion Bluetooth devices hooked up to your iPhone.
It's the scroll of shame.
Yeah, me too. I got many items. So, and then go to the AirPods, and then there's the little eye there, the information, you tap it, and then it'll bring you to the information that normally you would go in there to where if you want to forget the device or disconnect it. But below that is there's a name. You can go in there, tap that, and then what it does is it brings up another screen, and then you can erase what's in there and type in whatever name you so desire. You can even say best pods ever. Or whatever.
I guess you can only do this if you're connected to your AirPods, because I don't have the option to rename, which makes sense. I don't have the option to rename mine right now, but I'm not connected because I'm not using AirPods for this call. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So that must be the reason. Okay. So then, yes, that's the added tip that I didn't have on the list here.
There you go. Yep. There's always another tip. That's right.
And that's the one tip here. So our last tip I have here is how to set the timer on the Apple Watch. I really love the timer. Have you used that a lot on the Apple Watch at all?
Absolutely. I use it all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got it set in in the complications. I have it down on the bottom right on my watch. And then it has a timer where I can start the timer when I want to at a set time, and I can cancel it, or you can go into custom, and then you can go through and create custom timers. You could set multiple timers on there. You could have 3, 4 of them. It's basically like a kitchen timer. You could have a countdown timer. You can have any type of little timer you want. And all you really have to do is you go on there and you tap on the digital crown on your watch and you load the timers app, and then you scroll down to custom, and you just start customizing the way you want that screen to look. And to have that right on your wrist, I think is just awesome. I mean, before what we would pull out our iPhone. And then, of course, I don't have a problem doing that, but why would you want to do that when you have a nice watch sitting on your wrist?
So, I use the timer as a nap timer, Like I like a good, like somewhere between 12 and 30-minute nap. Sometimes in the afternoon, if I find myself fading, it's like, yep, you know what? I'm just going to lay down for, somewhere in that range, and I can just set the timer on my watch. I lay down, and I've learned I don't stress about whether I fall asleep or not. I just know that I'm going to lay down for that period of time, and 99% of the time I fall asleep, and then it's fine. Yep.
Yeah, so, exactly. So those were our tips for this week, and I'm gonna keep kicking on those tips for our next episodes. And if you have any suggestions, obviously, you can send that to feedback at intouchwithios.com. Yes, I use feedback like you do. No,
it's a good thing. I'm sure I stole it from somebody 14 years ago, and it seemed like a good idea at the time. So there you go.
So if you have any tip suggestions, feel free to send it to feedback at intouchwithios.com.
Feedback at intouchwithios.com.
I do. And I was hoping you would do that because you guys, I love when you guys do that on Mac Geek Gab. I did say feedback. You and John, I love you guys. So that's why I was like, would you guys do that? So, lastly, we have a couple app picks, and I'm hoping Dave found one, but if not, we can like we talked before the show, we can piggyback onto one here. The first one is, I hadn't used this app in quite a while. It's Gas Buddy, and I realized I had an account because I just set it up today, a matter of fact, because it caught my eye to talk about it. And again, like any app, of course, a lot of advertising, a lot of sign up for this and sign up for that, and you can get free stuff if you use this to pay for your gas, all that stuff. But really, all I want to use it for is to find gas near me and find the cheapest station. So really, what it does is it gives you a great list of all the stations that are nearby and what the cheapest price is, and you'll say, okay, that's the place I want to go because look, that place is 10 cents cheaper. But a lot of times, like a lot of Shell stations are nearby. I don't know if you have Shell stations by you guys.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yep. They have a fuel rewards program where, and in fact, because I'm a T-Mobile customer, every week during T-Mobile Tuesdays, they give me an extra 10 cents every week to fill up a gas. So not only do I get the 5 cents I normally get, I get 10 cents, so it gives me 15 cents. So I want to look for the cheapest price. Like, okay, here's a station here down the street from here. It's $2.89, so I'll have my 15 cents off, and I say, oh, great, I can go over there and take a look at it. So, but it does it for, of course, across the country, and it does flash things like deal alerts, and there is a lot of ads, so to kind of be aware of that. But and then it does show other stations as well. In fact, I guess I forget Shell. I'm going to go to Costco because Costco is selling it for $2.56 here. So it does report the cost, the prices for that too, because of course you have to be a member to go to Costco. So people report those, and this is all reported by you, similar to what Waze does. Have you used this before?
Yeah, I have. And I actually know someone that used to go and like they were paid every day to go and spend an hour and a half before they went to work or whatever.
Really?
To cover an area. Yep. And report all the gas prices for the day. So, yeah.
That's way cool. So check it out. Yeah, it's Gas Buddy. As I said, I'm sure pretty much everybody's has known about that app before. Then my second app was, I just rediscovered it actually today as well, because we do a show here and that's how we find things. And I thought you and I might like this app because it relates to music. It's called Music Memos. You said you haven't used this much, right?
I've used it a little bit. Yeah. It is handy to just, kind of lay down a quick idea for something. I am not much of a songwriter. Nor am I. So yeah, I had one song that I wrote in college with the band that I was in that actually charted moderately well on college radio. So I figured I'll just quit while I'm ahead. I'm batting 1,000, Dave. Yeah. But no, I really haven't. It is not my thing. I would love to be a good songwriter. I am not. So, but I have used the Music Memos app. Yeah, it's and I have bandmates that use it, and it's a great thing. To really, just it's right there. You just kind of capture it and move on, which is cool.
Yeah. And and I'm going to record something as I'm talking here so I can kind of look at it again. But I think it's kind of cool is because what it does is it records, you could be singing or you could be talking. And you could even record a memo with this, really. I mean, if you decide because it does allow you to upload it. It does have the tuning fork up there. And then it lets you add guitar, bass, and drums in the idea. So they call it My Idea. And then you play it back. And then it will add those instruments in there to let you listen to it and get.
Yeah,
then
you
go
can,
back
you
and
can
record
really
it.
start to. I mean, you're not going to fully flesh out a song, and then somebody has, but the idea is not to do that. The idea is to just capture an idea, and it will even, it'll go through and parse the chord structure of what you've done, so that you can look at it and tell people, which is cool. That way you don't have to remember. Oh, what key was I in when I was doing this? No, it's all right there. It's already figured it out for you. It might not be perfect, but actually from what I've seen, I did mess with it with that. Like I got out a guitar and played it. Like, it knows what you did, which is cool. So,
yeah, no, it's super cool. So, all right, well, those are my two apps, and I'm not mean to put you on the spot, Dave, but do you think you have one app you could think of that?
I actually have two, and both of them are in response to and inspired by the two that you had. So you mentioned Gas Buddy today and yesterday, actually, driving to and from a Jonas Brothers concert, believe it or not.
I saw that.
Yeah, they were fantastic. We used the USA Rest Stops app from Innovative Software Tech. Man, this Waze has rest stops in it, but I don't know. I never feel confident that the one it's telling me to go to is actually the right one. And this USA Rest Stops app shows you exactly what's going on. It's very clear on the map. You can see which one's on which side of the road. Like, am I picking one? Sometimes they have them, in matching spots where it's in the same spot, northbound and southbound on, whatever highway you're on. Sometimes the southbound one is 10 miles south of the northbound, This app just makes life super, super easy. And we needed a rest stop yesterday on the way down. And I just searched on my phone. I still had this on my phone. There it was.
Oh, awesome.
So it's free. Highly recommend. Just put it on your phone. And if you never use it, that's fine. But it's right there.
I got that link in the show notes for that one.
Great.
You got another one.
Okay. So the next one is an app called Sound Storming, which is similar to Music Memos, where you can put ideas in there, but then you can take them and collaborate, right? Mm-hmm. So you could record some chords, or you could sing something and send it to your guitar player, and they could add some stuff, or your fans can do it. Like, it's a really cool, it's a service that is based on an app. And you can layer all this stuff, and then the song just sort of takes shape with multiple people if you want, collaborating and contributing. And like I said, you can share just with your bandmates, or you can share with your audience or whatever. So it's a pretty cool thing. I saw it for the first time this year at South by Southwest, and was blown away. Yep.
See, two apps I didn't even know about that. And
there you go.
Soundstorming Inc. And it's a social platform to speak music, record ideas, or just similar to what the music app does. So
it sort of takes it to the next level, right? Because you can the whole thing is built to have other people contribute with you. So it's cool.
Well, thank you. Those are two great apps that you picked out here. So with that, I can't believe it. Our time has gone by here, and you add me the link there, so I was having trouble finding the link there. So I can't thank you enough for being here. And why don't you tell the listeners where they can find you? I have that in the show notes, but tell everybody about your show and where we can find you.
Sure. Yeah. No, you can find me, the podcast that I do called Mac Geek Gab is just macgeekgab.com. We answer people's questions about all kinds. It's called Mac Geek Gab because we started before the iPhone existed. But we answer all kinds of questions, iOS as well as Mac OS, and really any general tech stuff, routers, and all that stuff is fair game. Whatever you want, just join us, and we'd love to have you. And if you want to find me on Twitter, Dave Hamilton is me there. So I'd love to hear from everybody. And thanks for having me, Dave. This has been great.
Yeah. Man. This was just an absolute blast. And don't forget, you're co-founder of the Mac Observer. That's one of the greatest websites out there for Mac. Everything. You got such a great crew over there. A lot of great articles. I read it religiously every day. And the Daily Tech Observations podcast with Kelly Gumont. Kelly's been on the show before, so I'm not trying to toot your horn here, but
oh, hey, thanks. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah,
you guys
go too crazy when people
no, I
ask
know, but you guys inspired me, and I've told that to people many times that I always refer them to Mac Observer, so we appreciate that. So, all right, let's wrap things up here. And that's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address at feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter at InTouchWithIOS, or you can subscribe in your favorite podcatcher, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, and TuneIn Radio. Or better yet, go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where all the links to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you could find me on Twitter at DaveG65. Again, Dave, thanks for being here this week.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Great stuff. Really fun. I learned like 7 new things. This is great.
See, I really got to your. We went to 7 from 5. So, and I really appreciate it. Thanks for listening, and we will talk to you again soon.